Stop scrolling for a second, because what you're about to hear isn't just another celebrity update. Like, comment, and share right now before the full picture unfolds, because two of the most talked about couples in the world have just taken completely opposite paths. And the internet is spiraling. Started quietly, almost too quietly. A single Instagram post from HAILEY BIEBER appeared on feeds without warning. No long explanation, no defensive tone. Just an intimate photo with Justin Bieber and a caption that hit harder than any statement ever could. Forever Valentine. 2 words. 1 message. Permanence. Within minutes, the post ignited social media. Fans leaned in, zoomed closer, slowed the clip down frame by frame. The way Justin stood beside HAILEY, the calm in their expressions, the softness that felt unforced. To many, it looked like a quiet but powerful response to months of rumors, speculation, and constant online noise surrounding their marriage. No interviews, no clapbacks, just presence. TikTok edits exploded almost instantly. Romantic soundtracks layered under the image. Subtle zoom-ins on their hands, their posture, their closeness. The tempo slowed, then sped up, creating an emotional pull that kept viewers watching on repeat. Comment sections filled with the same sentiment. This didn't feel staged, felt real. And just when the internet was fully immersed in that warmth, the mood shifted hard. Cut to the biggest night in music. The lights, the anticipation, the red carpet energy of the Grammy Awards. Cameras rolled. Fans waited. But something was missing. 2 names expected by millions never appeared. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were nowhere to be seen. No red carpet moment. No shared glance inside the venue. No candid shots. Just absence. And the reaction was immediate. Disappointment flooded timelines. Fans who had imagined that night for weeks felt let down. Many were convinced this would be the public moment. A symbolic appearance, a statement without words. Instead, empty seats and unanswered questions took its place. Speculation spread fast. Some pointed to demanding schedules. Others believed it was a deliberate choice to stay private. But for fans, explanations didn't ease the feeling. Expectations had been built high, and silence felt loud. Here's where everything collides. On one screen, a couple choosing intimacy over explanation, letting a single image speak volumes. On another, a power couple opting out of the spotlight entirely on the world's most visible stage. The contrast was jarring. Sweet certainty versus unresolved mystery. Slow emotional warmth interrupted by sudden confusion. Halfway through the story, the question lingers. Which approach speaks louder, showing up quietly or not showing up at all? Because this isn't just about romance. It's about control. About how public figures navigate attention in an era where every move is dissected. HAILEY and Justin leaned into visibility, but on their own terms. Taylor and Travis leaned into absence, and that choice alone became the headline. Then comes the payoff. These parallel moments reveal the same truth from different angles. Fame doesn't erase choice. Love doesn't follow one script. And sometimes, the smallest gesture can dominate the conversation more than the grandest stage. Now it's your turn. Did Forever Valentine restore your faith in celebrity love stories? Or were you one of the fans left disappointed by the Grammy no-show? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this with someone who lives for pop culture updates, and follow for the next story, because the spotlight never stays still for long. And the conversation didn't slow down the next day. If anything, it grew louder, deeper, and more emotional. Screens refreshed endlessly as fans, critics, and casual observers tried to connect the dots between affection and absence, between what was shown and what was withheld. In the world of celebrity news, silence is never empty. It's interpretive space. And right now, that space feels crowded. For HAILEY and Justin, Forever Valentine quickly transformed from a romantic caption into a cultural signal. Entertainment pages framed it as reassurance. Fan accounts treated it like a victory lap. Others saw it as intentional timing, released precisely when public curiosity was peaking. Every angle was dissected, every pixel scrutinized. The way HAILEY leaned in, the relaxed posture, the lack of performative glamour. It didn't scream attention. It whispered confidence. Sources close to the couple, quoted across multiple outlets, emphasized consistency. This wasn't a sudden display, they said, but a continuation of how the two navigate pressure, by grounding themselves privately, then sharing selectively. That framing mattered. It shifted the narrative from reaction to intention, from defense to declaration. Scroll, refresh, zoom in. Then suddenly, pattern interrupt. The topic switched back. Hard cut. Grammy night again. And the disappointment hadn't faded. In fact, it had matured into frustration. Fans weren't just sad anymore. They were debating meaning. Why skip a moment so culturally loaded? Why choose absence when presence could have dominated headlines? Industry insiders suggested that skipping the event may have been a strategic move. Overexposure, after all, can dilute mystique. Others argued it was personal, not professional. That not every relationship needs to be validated under flashing lights. Still, the counterargument persisted. Public figures build their empires on visibility, and visibility creates expectation. This tension between access and autonomy is where the story truly lives. On social media, split screens became symbolic. One side showed a still image, warm and intimate, looping endlessly. The other showed clips from Grammy night, panning across celebrities, lingering on moments that could have included Taylor and Travis. The contrast fueled engagement. Engagement fueled algorithms. Algorithms fueled headlines. And right in the middle of it all, fans found themselves emotionally invested in choices they didn't get to make. Midway through this unfolding narrative, a deeper question emerged, almost quietly. Do audiences love authenticity, or do they love consistency? Because both couples acted authentically, just in radically different ways. One chose to show, one chose not to, and both choices were judged, praised, criticized, and endlessly replayed. As days passed, commentary evolved. Psychologists weighed in on parasocial relationships. Media analysts broke down timing and optics. Long-form opinion pieces argued that modern fame is no longer about being seen everywhere, but about being seen correctly. And correctness in this era is subjective. Then came the emotional shift, the payoff moment where perspective widened. Fans began acknowledging the double standard. If Hailey and Justin had stayed silent, the internet would have speculated endlessly. When Taylor and Travis did stay silent, the internet still speculated endlessly. The conclusion became unavoidable. Visibility doesn't stop narratives. It only changes their tone. And maybe that's the real headline. These two stories aren't opposites. They're mirrors, reflections of the same reality played at different volumes. One soft and intimate, one loud in its quietness. Together, they expose how modern celebrity culture feeds on contrast, thrives on tension, and survives on constant interpretation. As the buzz finally began to plateau, one thing was clear. Both moments achieved the same outcome. They dominated attention. They drove conversation. They reminded everyone that in pop culture, presence and absence are equally powerful tools. Now, as the feed moves on and the next headline loads, the question lingers a little longer than usual. Which moment will be remembered? The photo that felt like a promise, or the night that felt incomplete? And maybe more importantly, what does that say about what we expect from the people we watch? If this story made you pause, react, or rethink how you see celebrity relationships, make sure you leave your take in the comments. Share this with someone who never misses a pop culture debate, and follow for the next deep dive. Because in this spotlight-driven world, the quietest moments often echo the longest. As the hours turned into days, the story refused to fade. It evolved. What began as a Valentine's post and an award show absence slowly transformed into a broader cultural conversation. One that stretched beyond romance and into the psychology of fame, expectation, and control in the digital age. News outlets reframed their headlines. What was first labeled as romantic became strategic. What was initially called disappointing was later described as intentional. Language shifted as analysts and commentators tried to keep up with public sentiment, which itself moved like a wave, surging with emotion, retreating into reflection, then surging again with new angles. For Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber, the aftermath felt unusually calm. There were no follow-up posts, no clarifications, no attempts to extend the narrative. That restraint became part of the message. In an ecosystem where over-explanation is often the norm, choosing not to elaborate read as confidence. The image stood alone, and in doing so, it continued to travel, screenshotted, reposted, reframed, without losing its emotional core. Contrast that with the continued scrutiny surrounding Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Their absence at the Grammy Awards didn't just create a gap on the red carpet. It created narrative vacuum. And vacuums, especially in pop culture, never stay empty for long. Every silence became symbolic. Every unrelated schedule update was reinterpreted. Fans zoomed out from the single event and began connecting it to past moments. Previous appearances, interviews, lyrics, offhand comments. Theories layered on top of theories, each one gaining traction not because it was confirmed, but because it felt plausible enough to debate. This is where engagement peaked. Video essays dissected timelines. Split-second reaction clips from Grammy night were slowed down, reframed with captions asking, "What if?" Podcasts dedicated entire segments to a non-appearance. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. By not showing up, they had arguably become the most discussed figures of the night. Then came another shift in tone. Instead of disappointment, a portion of the audience leaned into empathy. Commentators reminded viewers that constant visibility carries a cost, that choosing not to participate in a global spectacle might be an act of preservation, not avoidance, that privacy in a hyper-connected era can be a form of rebellion. This reframing didn't erase frustration, but it complicated it. Suddenly, the two stories began to converge thematically, not in outcome but in meaning. Both couples were exercising agency. Both were dictating the terms of how they appeared or didn't in public discourse. One did it through intimacy shared, the other through a boundary enforced. And right there, the narrative reached its emotional core. Because the real tension wasn't about love or even fame. It was about expectation, about how audiences, conditioned by constant access, react when that access is shaped instead of surrendered. The discomfort didn't come from what was seen or unseen. It came from the loss of control over the story. As the news cycle gradually moved forward, what lingered wasn't outrage or adoration, but recognition. Recognition that modern celebrity isn't passive. It's curated, calculated, and deeply aware of its audience. Every post, every pause, every absence carries weight. By the end of the week, engagement metrics told a clear story. Both moments, romantic visibility and strategic absence, had achieved the same result. They dominated conversation. They drove clicks, comments, and debates. They reminded everyone watching that, in the attention economy, contrast is currency. And so the payoff lands quietly but firmly. In a world where everyone is expected to show everything, sometimes the most powerful move is choosing exactly what to reveal and what to withhold. Whether through a soft Valentine's image or a conspicuous empty seat, the message is the same. Control the narrative, or the narrative will control you. As this chapter closes and the next headline waits in the wings, one thing is certain. These stories didn't just entertain. They exposed how deeply invested audiences are in moments that feel personal, even when they're mediated by screens. If you've followed this story from the first scroll to this final beat, let your voice be part of the conversation. Share your perspective, pass this on to someone who never misses a cultural moment, and stay tuned, because the next silence, the next post, or the next absence could rewrite the story all over again. The ripple effects didn't stop at commentary or trending hashtags. They spilled into how pop culture itself was consumed that week. Search queries surged. Clips were recycled. Old interviews resurfaced, stripped of their original context and repurposed to fit new narratives. In the attention economy, yesterday's words are never truly old. They're just waiting to be reactivated. Entertainment desks began framing the moment as a case study, not of romance, but of timing. The timing of a post, the timing of an absence, the timing of public appetite. Because what made this moment explode wasn't novelty, it was alignment. The audience was already primed. Rumors had been simmering, Expectations had been set. All it took was one image and one empty space for everything to ignite. What stood out most was how quickly emotion translated into interpretation. For some, the Valentine image felt reassuring, even grounding. It offered a sense of stability in a media cycle that thrives on uncertainty. For others, the Grammy no-show felt destabilizing, not because it signaled trouble, but because it disrupted a storyline people thought they understood. And misunderstanding, especially at scale, is combustible. Scroll through comment sections and you could feel the divide. One group spoke in absolutes, convinced they were witnessing proof. Proof of love, proof of intention, proof of distance, proof of strategy. Another group pushed back, urging restraint, reminding everyone that curated moments are not full stories, that no frame, no matter how intimate or how empty, can capture reality in its entirety. Yet the debate persisted because debate itself had become the product. What made this cycle particularly intense was its emotional rhythm. Slow, intimate imagery followed by sharp disappointment. Warmth interrupted by confusion. Certainty broken by silence. It functioned almost like a perfectly edited video, designed, whether intentionally or not, to keep viewers locked in. Attention rose, dipped, then rose again. Retention at its peak. By the time international outlets picked it up, the story had already evolved beyond its origins. It was no longer about a Valentine's post or an awards ceremony. It was about how audiences attach meaning to moments they don't control. How absence can feel like a statement even when none is given. How visibility can feel comforting even when it explains nothing. Late-night hosts joked about it. Morning shows analyzed body language. Online forums ran polls asking which move felt more powerful, showing up softly or not showing up at all. The fact that such a simple contrast could sustain days of conversation spoke volumes about the current state of celebrity culture. Then, quietly, fatigue began to set in. Not boredom, but reflection. A sense that maybe the story said more about the audience than the figures at its center. That the disappointment, the reassurance, the speculation, all of it was a mirror. A reflection of how deeply people crave narrative closure in a world that rarely offers it. And that's where the final emotional turn happened. Instead of demanding answers, some fans began letting go of them, accepting that not every moment is designed for public consumption, that some gestures are meant to be felt, not decoded, that some absences are simply absences, not clues, not conflicts, not commentary. In that acceptance, the noise softened. What remained was a clearer picture of the dynamic itself. Public figures navigating visibility with intention. Audiences learning, slowly, that intention doesn't always align with expectation. And media ecosystems amplifying the tension between the two because tension